She said it as casually as if she were ordering coffee. Calm. Final. Completely detached. Your value has been re-evaluated, she remarked, tapping her pen on the table. To zero. No emotion, no pause, just cold arithmetic to her. My wife's sister, the CEO, sat at the head of the boardroom table, surrounded by people I had hired, guided, and trusted. Now, none of them would meet my eyes. Their gazes fixed on the table instead. I still remember the faint hum of the projector, the stale smell of burnt coffee, the rhythmic click of her manicured nails on the glass surface. That was the sound of betrayal. It doesn't scream, it whispers. They escorted me out like some intern caught sneaking office supplies. No handshake, no explanation. Just a clipped legal will reach out. I didn't speak, didn't protest, didn't even flinch. Because when someone believes they've buried you, it's wiser to let them keep digging. Her father had built the company from the ground up, an old-school industrialist with sharp instincts, ruthless but fair. He respected me because I wasn't born into privilege. No legacy, no silver spoon, just grit and sleepless nights. When I married his daughter, he chuckled and said, "Now you're truly part of the family business." He wasn't wrong. I created their logistics division from nothing. 10 years for countries, 3 near disasters survived. When he retired, he made one mistake, splitting control between his 2 daughters. My wife wanted harmony. Her sister craved dominance. And she couldn't stand that every major deal, every investor success, carried my name somewhere on it. Jealousy never declares itself. It hides behind polite smiles and carefully worded board memos. It began subtly. Emails I wasn't copied on, budgets altered without my signature. Then, the night before I was dismissed, my assistant, loyal to the end, forwarded me an internal memo. A leadership restructure contingency plan. I read every word. My name was printed in bold. Phase 1, remove M. Khan. Reason, conflict of interest. Conflict of interest. How fitting. The real conflict was her interest in taking everything I had built. By the time I finished reading, I wasn't angry anymore. I was cold. Focused. Because I remembered something her father once told me. A CEO can fire a man, but a shareholder can fire a CEO. She'd overlooked one detail. My contract wasn't standard. I had negotiated an equity clause tied to performance and investor covenants. It wasn't just compensation. It was leverage. If I were ever terminated without cause, the lead investor, who financed half the company, could trigger a key person clause. That meant an immediate, non-negotiable $45 million penalty. But I didn't remind her of that. I let her enjoy her little victory. Then I disappeared. For 3 days, I was a ghost. During that time, I met quietly with the lead investor's auditor, a man who despised surprises. I handed him everything. Evidence of internal mismanagement, falsified expense reports, personal spending disguised as company costs. All approved by her signature. He didn't say much. Just nodded. We'll take care of it. It began with her father's return from Dubai. I knew he would come back. I made sure he saw the press release announcing my removal for ethical conflicts. The next morning, he stormed into the office. You fired who? His voice echoed across the marble lobby. Everyone froze. She tried to placate him, spouting corporate nonsense about realignment and strategic restructuring. But he wasn't buying a word of it. He turned to the CFO, my old ally, and asked, "Who signed the termination papers?" The CFO hesitated, then pointed to her. That was the first crack. But I wasn't finished. Hours later, an emergency board meeting was called by the lead investor's auditor. Everyone attended, her father, the full board. I sat quietly in the corner. She hadn't expected me to be there. The auditor began without ceremony. No emotion. No build-up. He simply slid a single document across the table, the funding covenant. Then he looked at her and said, "Do you have the $45 million penalty ready, or should we just take the keys?" The silence that followed was surgical. You could hear her breathing catch. Her father's face drained of color. She tried to argue, to twist the story, to shift the blame. But the auditor wasn't there for conversation. He was there to execute. He turned to me. "Mr. Khan," he said, "as per the agreement, you remain the designated key person until this breach is resolved. The board will need to reinstate your authority." I didn't gloat. Didn't smile. Because when power returns, it speaks quietly. By the end of the day, she was gone, accounts frozen, title revoked. Her father didn't even meet her eyes as he signed the termination papers. He only whispered, You've disgraced this family." My wife said nothing through it all. She just watched, expression unreadable. We both knew the damage went far beyond business. When it ended, I walked back into my office. Same chair. Same view. Except now, the silence belonged to me. A week later, the auditor called. "Everything's stable now," he said. "You could have sued, but you didn't." I told him the truth. I wasn't after money. I wanted her to understand value. He paused. "She does now." That night, I sat in the dark, watching the city lights flicker across the glass like small, distant fires, the same kind she'd tried to burn me with. Her words echoed in my head. "Your value has been reassessed." She was right. It had been. But this time it wasn't mine. Because when you teach someone the price of betrayal, you make sure the lesson is paid in full.